Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to another session of Living Water Darkness, New York by Night, Camera Venue. This scene takes place in just outside of Lady Sheridan's mansion, the one that Ghost helped her acquire, and Ghost is going to be looking to speak with her friend about learning some of the gifts that the bedroom are. And we start the scene with Ghost making an impromptu early evening visit and knocking on the front door.
After peeking through the eye hole, Lady Sheridan will open the door.
Ghost lowers her sunglasses somewhat and smiles and says, "Lady Sheridan, how are you holding up?"
Well, I'm mostly healed. She currently looks slightly sunburned. Wow, like a mortal sunburn. But other than that, she seems to have healed mostly.
Yeah, most of Ghost's damage that's left seems to be not on her face anymore. She seems to have healed the face damage, and the damage she still has is on her torso, so she's just concealed by her clothes at the moment. Can I come in?
Certainly. And she will show Ghost through to one of the living rooms. And gesture for Ghost to take a seat. So, what do I owe the pleasure of this visit?
For once, Ghost doesn't sit down until you come into the room, and sort of get really reasonably close to sitting down yourself. And nor does she light a cigarette or anything like that. You can tell. I'm not going to make you roll for it because I can't bothered. You can tell she's trying to be polite, more polite than usual. So maybe she's after something. She sits down and puts her sunglasses on the table and says, just want to see how you were doing.
I see.
It was a bit of a hairy situation.
It certainly was. I can't help but be very glad that you were there.
Yeah, those doors were tough, even for someone with my strength. She starts to think about what happened, and you can see her sort of shudder a little bit. Any case, not really quite sure how to go about this. But I was thinking maybe it would be a good idea that I get a bit more resilient, given my position.
She raises an eyebrow, but doesn't actually say anything, and smiles a bit.
And I'm given to understand that the adventurer have a certain natural resilience.
We do, and it is something I've been working on lately.
Perhaps you would be willing to assist me in learning that ability. You can tell she's quite awkward about asking this.
I could
Actually,
certainly consider it.
you know, you owe me that favour, and maybe if you teach me some stuff with the toilet bits.
As soon as you say you owe me that favour, she smiles. It's almost as if she was waiting for you to say that.
Ghost sees her smile, but doesn't quite read it as that. She finds Lady Sheridan quite hard to read anyway, generally. But she's more sort of.
It certainly. Yeah. No, you go ahead.
She's quite sheepish. You can tell that she's not really accustomed to asking other people for help.
Well, I certainly think that that would be a fair repayment for you for all the trouble that you went through in helping me get
Yeah.
this.
And, you know, it can only go in the Camerala's favour if their hound is a little bit rough. She
Well then,
shakes.
I think we have certainly got a deal there.
So, if you don't mind me asking, what does this process entail?
Unfortunately, it is not the most pleasant of disciplines to learn.
No, I gathered that.
You need to practice your soaking. First on things that you might usually be able to soak as a kindred. Escalating towards things that are less easily soaked.
See.
Here she will glance towards the fire, which, considering it's in the fireplace, is not really a rucksack hazard, but definitely a hint.
You see a. It's almost like a dead, almost a sort of emotionless expression, a blank expression wash over Ghost's face. And her tone of voice gets a little bit cold. I understand.
Obviously, between lessons, we'll do so in a controlled and relatively safe manner. But it certainly won't be lessons.
Well, this may be a first uh, of a Bruiser to say to Aventry, but I trust you.
There's a small smile as if she's thinking of something. It might be quite hard to tell what, but I don't believe it's a first. Unusual, certainly, but not a first.
I'm sure you have more than enough experience in controlling situations. Complimentary, of course.
It should take well, a few weeks, but certainly not too long to learn. I've just recently had a pupil in the matter.
I'd be offended that I'm not your first, but I sense that might be disingenuous. She sort of grins at you.
And she'll smile back.
When do we start? I'm taking it I need to get rid of this first. She indicates to her chest, but the clothes are over her chest.
It would probably be for the best. Although, to be honest, I rather think that you should handle the first lesson reasonably well. But it's entirely up to you. You'll progress at your pace.
I'd rather be in peak form. But that shouldn't take too long, I'm almost there.
Yeah. I certainly think that peak form would be a good plan. And, as you say, we're both fast approaching it.
Have you heard anything else about Mr. Peck?
Nothing. To be honest, I think he's likely dead.
After what happened, I'm not sure I care.
Yes, I'm finding it significantly hard to care. However, my position does mean that I need to care regarding the dear Lady Arabeth.
Do you think their disappearances are connected?
I have no idea. It's entirely possible. At the same time, it's entirely possible that they're unrelated in any way, shape, or form. I am somewhat concerned about her silence, though. And it is my responsibility to investigate at some point once I'm fully healed.
You can tell that Ghost is mulling something over. He's not quite sure whether to tell you or not. But decides, since you're going to be poking over sticks, that in that situation there's not going to be very many secrets. The last time I saw Mr. Peck, he was quite upset.
I see. Regarding anything in particular?
Ghost almost looks bashful, which is a new one. I told him that I was not interested in pursuing a relationship of a romantic nature with him.
Hmm.
He didn't take it very well.
Yes, well, Toreador are known to be somewhat passionate in matters.
I fear that he hoped for someone. I mean, I do have disguises, and you know about this. And one of them is quite demure, but it's not a true representation of myself.
I quite understand on that matter.
I'm not. Whilst the game of it is a lot of fun, especially when you've been out of any such sort of encounter in several years. The game of it is fun enough, but I'm not the sort of person who would lead someone on under false pretenses. I don't think that romance is a priority anymore. You can roll perception and keep that if you wish.
You know what? I think I will.
Yeah. Because you're quite perceptive, and Ghost is not a brilliant liar.
Well, it's not so much that she's perceptive, it's that she knows how to take hints that people give her. She doesn't have super high perception or empathy. But she does have good expression of language and so forth. So that's a fail, but that's okay.
Yeah, I just, it's just not viable in our... Well, you understand.
I do.
He became very cold and distant. I understand that a lot of people got that impression of him, but he was actually quite talkative with me. But yeah, he became quite cold and distant, and I wouldn't say we left on a bad note, but there was certainly discomfort and tension. But otherwise, he seemed healthy and quite set on his goals. He doesn't strike me as the sort of man that would just up and leave everything that he's worked on for no reason. Even if he was upset with me.
No, he does not. I would especially have expected him to show up when he found out that his boiler room was on fire. But,
Well, exactly. Yeah.
as I said, I expect him to be dead, and as you said, that is no great concern.
Well, it's only a concern if tallying up some of the new evidence we have for the murder investigation. That we have a Sabat lurking around in the close area.
Yes, as you say,
Because
it's not so much a concern that he is dead, more that more may soon follow, especially if it is connected to Lady Aberth's sudden silence.
now, I don't know whether you've seen the latest evidence, the pictures.
I don't believe I have.
Please save yourself from seeing them if you can. They are very disturbing.
She'll raise an eyebrow, but not comment on that.
The latest victim was killed not very far from where myself and Limey have some of our domain.
I see.
And so in Cameron territory. And
Certainly is concerning.
this victim was made into a human wind chime with his or her guts and bones torn and arranged in a display that I can only imagine you could do with thousands of them.
I see. Well, should you find yourself concerned regarding the safety of your havens at the moment, given its proximity, please do not hesitate to drop by.
Ghost smile. You can see that she's thinking about making a crude comment or a joke, but it's far too polite in your company to do so. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, yeah, like I said, it's not so much a problem that Mr. Pecker is dead. It's just that if we've got Sabat, even a Sabat infiltrator, it could be possible. Somebody amongst our ranks that's, I don't know, it's speculation at this point, but either way we should probably do a little bit more investigating when we have time.
Certainly. Most troubling.
For now though, I have a few things to take care of, but you know, we'll be in contact. And she stands up. As soon as I'm back together again, we can begin our lessons.
Smile. Please do mention to Limey regarding the possibility of seeking refuge here if necessary.
I will.
And regarding the matter of the boon, should he also be interested in learning, I will accept a boon from him in return for it.
I think he's been given a similar offer by Green.
I see. Well, it is entirely up to him. But
I just, I know enough to know that it requires a little bit of sharing of the blood. And with no offence to our sheriff, I'm not fond of him enough to trust him in that endeavour.
I understand.
Plus, he wanted to throw me off a cliff in the car, and no.
The smile. Well, they do tend to prefer to get everything over with in one fast lesson of significantly less controllable nature.
I like control. Control's good. You know, being out for it surprised you to hear this from a bruiser, I'm sure. But you know, I like a bit of control. I don't like to be out of control too much. Out of control is bad, scary. Anyway, um, yeah, I'm gonna go. But we'll talk soon. You can tell she's doing the thing of over talking when she said too much.
Yeah.
But then so you know, someone as experienced in that sort of thing as Lady Sheridan, you know, that she was giving a bit away about her own psychology there. But, you know.
Just smile. If you have anywhere else to go, you're quite welcome to stay longer if you would like. You seem somewhat distracted.
Well, to be honest, the fire kind of put me back in mind of something I'd rather forget.
Ah,
And I've been a little bit haywire since, but I'll be alright.
Let's see. Certainly was unpleasant.
Yeah, I don't do too well in closed spaces, as you might have noticed.
Yes, well, none of us do well in closed spaces because the matters of fire.
I'm just wondering why Mr. Peck would have gone to so much trouble to booby trap his own place. Or indeed, was the
Same thing.
to give Johnny can't make a display out of a vampire, as far as I know.
You may be surprised.
I don't think I want to think about that. Just had lunch. Anyway, I'm gonna go and do a bit of digging. I think some people want to get together tonight and talk about this whole murder thing. So I'm gonna go talk to some people and see if I can find out any more info to bring along.
Do let me know if you find anything you think I might be able to assist with.
I will. Yeah. See you later. And she quite abruptly walks to the door.
And then we'll walk her out and close the door behind her. And have a bit of a think regarding wind chimes.
Siemens.